Hey, what's up, folks? So I'm still banned off the Facebook for like another 10 days or so. And, I just finished editing my book at least into a state good enough to print it. I mean, there's still in the second edition, I'll probably add a couple extra footnotes and stuff. But other than that, and I might trim a couple parts, but if I do a second edition. But either way, it's in pretty good shape now, so I'm gonna print it as a book. It's basically my article that's on medium.com, that's called America and the Old World Are Each Other's Underworlds. And so it's it's mostly about like the ancient Egyptian maps of America and other ancient traditions about America. So anyway, that will be good. I haven't got it printed yet. I know I'm going to print at least one copy just through FedEx. I'm just going to print like their cheapest one, I think, is like just a spiral notebook binding. And that might be, I'll probably do like the cheapest way, or I don't know. I'll just try to print more, I'll just try to find whatever is the cheapest possible way to do it. Because it's going to be hard because it's like 300 pages and there's like color photographs on big color photographs on almost every page, or at least on like half the pages. So yeah, that will probably be a lot of ink and paper, and probably the ink is more of a big deal than the paper, and then the binding, I guess, could be expensive. So anyway, we'll see about that. I'm gonna try to distribute those to people if they want to read it, and I have it uploaded it to this website like fileshare.com or something. And so I have to find out a way that people can download it without making an account. I think there's a way where they just have to like put their email address and that's it. So that'll be like, then I'll send out the link to everybody once I figure that out. And then you can just download the whole thing onto your computer. Right now it's in like a Word document, so I'm not sure how to switch it into a PDF. I don't even know if I can switch it into a PDF. Or maybe if I do, I have to use a different computer because every website has my operating system like blacklisted. For whatever reason, like I can't download everything. They always say change your operating system, but if I try to download a new operating system, it says that they also blacklist my laptop, like the model and make or whatever. So I can't, I think there is a way. I just had to take everything off my computer, basically, take everything off, all the hardware, I don't know, and then just basically put a new computer in or put a new whole thing in. But I don't know how to do that. I'll have to get some people to help me with that, like go to some place. So and I got sick. I'm sick from I went out on St. Patrick's Day and was like dancing around with all the college kids that are all like vaxxed and boosted and stuff. And so anyway, I got sick. So I'm like some kind of upper respiratory, sneezes and runny nose and stuff. So not really dangerous the way like lower respiratory, like COVID or like alpha COVID was, but more similar to just colds and like Omicron and stuff. But who knows, with all the bioweapons flying around, maybe they snuck some weird nanobots into me. I don't fucking know. I don't trust any, like, I don't think there's such thing as like natural anything, like in terms of diseases anymore. Like everything's like amped and tweaked. So especially now they're busting out all the bioweapons. I mean, think about it. Like every major, country has spent like 100 years spending billions and billions of dollars making bioweapons. So but it's been really disappointing that they haven't been able to use them more. So it's like now they're just using a lot of them probably in their. I mean, I don't know. It seems like they're probably going to keep using more and worse ones based on the stuff that Bill Gates and all these people keep saying, like, oh no, there's going to be a smallpox attack, or they bust out some smallpox or Marburg or something. But anyway, I'm on the mend. Like I went out on, I guess, Thursday, St. Patrick's Day, and then I felt sick on Saturday. I mean, I felt sick that night. I just had a headache from hell from drinking, even though I hardly drank, but apparently I can't drink anymore. But it wasn't until Saturday that I felt sick, like this type of sick, I'll sneeze and a little bit of like fever, but not too bad. So anyway, I just watched Jimmy Dore's video about the Babylon Bee getting kicked off of Twitter, and he's saying like it's censorship. They shouldn't. Especially since it's inconsistent. They let other people misgender. Like apparently misgendering is like against Twitter policies. So they did a post. They posted something that was saying that they nominate Rachel Levine or somebody like some kind of admiral that's trans as the man of the year. And so they got banned or they got one of the things where it says you will be banned for like 12 days or whatever it is, but only after you delete it. And I've been in those situations where like I refused to delete it because I forget what, they would try to make me delete things that were like totally innocuous or just, they're just so fascist that like, so anyway, Babylon Bee is like, they're not going to delete it. And so even though they have, like 1.5 million or over 1 million followers, they're basically just going to ditch Twitter because, they're taking a stand on this, which they might as well. I mean, all their fans are mostly banned off Twitter too, so they might as well just get her. I have to remember. Oh, I keep forgetting to fucking follow them because like I knew that they're on Getter, but I keep forgetting. Every day I like follow the max amount of people in Getter, which is basically what I did in Twitter. Like I just follow because that's how you can get followers. Just follow hella people, and then there's like a certain percentage, like maybe a fifth or something, that will follow back, and like that's usually the only way you can get followers if you're not like famous. So like so yeah, like I'm following like 40,000 people, I think, like 38,000 people or something. It's a lot of clicking. I just been following. I followed all the followers of Jimmy Dore that were on Twitter, or I mean on Getter, because even though it's like a fake account of him, I figure the people that are following him, they'll be kind of like somewhat based leftists, or like dirtbag leftists, or whatever we're called, non-shit lib, non-SJW leftists. And then I also follow like the followers of Naomi Wolf, because she's also she's like a leftist, but she's like based when it comes to like the vaccines and everything and the mandates and all that. So figure that people who follow her be more likely to like be in line with my thinking. And then I follow like all the followers of big turf accounts because like at least some of the big turf accounts actually went in together. I'm sure they just got banned so many times on Twitter. Because I mean, if you can't misgender, how can you turf? You know, like when we were turfing on Twitter, I mean, I think I misgendered. I mean, I think it used to be like you couldn't directly misgender somebody or something. Like if you say it to them, then you could catch a ban. But if you just said it about somebody in general, then it would be okay, like the Babylon Bee thing. But apparently, even that you can't. So, and I think they've often been doing that. Like I think they banned. They've banned already like a bunch of accounts just for saying that a man is a, you know, if you have a penis, you're a man kind of thing. And so anyway, I'm a turf, you know, I believe that men have penises and girls have vaginas. You know, this is what I was taught in school. So if you want to be mad at me, take it up with the public schooling, or take it up with all of education going back to the dawn of time that has taught that, you know, there's something called a male, man, boy, etc. has a penis. There's something called a female, girl, woman, etc. that has a vagina. Yeah, or just cry more. I don't care. You know, like I'm really over like the fucking, you know, trans ideology enforcers. Like and so yeah, I follow, there's somebody called Glenner who's a cool, like I think he's a gay guy in Dublin or something. Not exactly sure, but you know, there's a lot of like really great like LGBT you know, activists that are like involved, and even trans people. You know, there's some relatively GC trans, like, you know, like especially male to female, like there's like the porn star Buck that's pretty like, or even like what's, you know, Caitlyn Jenner, you know, stands up against biological males in women's sports. But yeah, so I love the turfs. I mean, I don't agree always with every little thing. Like I'm not a swerve. Like a lot of the hardcore turf accounts, or as we say, like Murph, which is like, because like turf means trans exclusionary radical feminist, but what they say is they're not excluding trans because they accept trans men as women, or quote unquote trans men as women. So they're not trans exclusionary. So they say they're MRFs, they're male exclusionary. So yeah, like basically that they're feminists, and when they talk about feminism, they're not talking about people with penises. That's it. So, or people that used to have penises or anything like that. So, so I'm like a MRF, I guess. Well, I don't know. They would say like, most of them would say like a dude can't be a feminist. So I don't really care, like whatever semantics. But I'm like a MRF ally or something. I think I could get away with calling myself a MRF ally, or someone who aspires to be a MRF ally. But anyway, like I watched Jimmy's video about, you know, like, and so Jimmy, you know, he stands up against censorship. Great, that's good. Like I'm still, you know, like I did a video recently celebrating him reaching 1 million subscribers. And like I'm still glad about that because it means that there's more people in that kind of quadrant of like being open to both leftist and supposedly right populist ideas, which are mostly really actually leftist ideas that the pseudo left has condemned and abandoned, or never had actually, but the real left did have. But it's like like it was Jimmy Dore and you know, Kurt Metzger, or think it's Metzger that's always on there. He's like, I think he's a writer for the Jimmy Dore show. And I think Jimmy, like, I don't know, I kind of feel like Jimmy, like, pissed off so many of his shitlib and SJW friends and whatever. And especially during, like, the COVID thing, that he basically realized, like he basically started having Kurt on just because he had to go down, like, kind of down to that level of status, quote unquote, to find somebody who's not like a fucking psychopath that hates him, you know? Like, he's like, oh shit, you know, like, he can't have like Graham Elwood or, you know, all these like people that used to be on his show more. So he's like, fuck it, I'll just like have Kurt come out and talk. And it's pretty good for the most part. I mean, they both sometimes they both complement each other's failings, you know, like one of them will be more like woke on some issue, you know, more like awake or better on some issue. And then the other will be like better on another issue. But on this, like, they're both kind of, well, no, I think Kurt's probably better than him on this. Like, Kurt's somebody who, like, he says trans women and da-da-da, but, like, but his main thing, he was saying, you know, he was condemning the censorship, and he was also saying it wasn't a very good joke of the Babylon Bee, you know, just saying, oh, they nominate that person for the Man of the Year. But then it's like, that's stupid, because if you don't understand, like, the Babylon Bee is not just humor. It's not just National Lampoon. It's political humor that appeals to a certain, you know, political beliefs. And so just like Jimmy Dore, they're sometimes going to do things that are kind of funny, but are also more just them standing on principle. But it's not completely divorced from their comedy. So anyway, you know, Kurt was kind of saying it was a mad joke, but he's kind of missing the point. Not everything has to be the best joke ever. Sometimes you do make a point with a joke, and the point is worth more than whether it's like a you know, hilarious joke or clever joke or something. And then Jimmy seemed to go further, and because even like he did a recent thing talking about how he thinks it might be unfair basically for like the biological males to like be winning in all these sports and taking all these medals. But he was like so careful with his words, and just so you could just see that sheer fucking terror in this guy's face, like that he's gonna get, you know, be called a transphobe, which I think he already has been called a TERF over I don't know what, something, even though he seems to mostly just suck up to the trans, you know, ideologues. But anyway, so yeah, he's standing up against the censorship. He said, like, you know, I don't think they should be censored, but I think this was a terrible thing, and, you know, or, you know, he thinks it's bad and it's mean, and it made him sympathize with this admiral, and because this admiral had apparently been chosen as one of the 12 women of the year, or I don't know if there was an order of it, but some kind of woman of the year type thing. So that's what the joke was kind of based on, saying actually they nominate him as a Man of the Year. But anyway, so Jimmy's like so careful to just say, I respect trans women and I oppose misgendering and blah, blah, blah. And I could pretty much tell Kurt is not as ridiculous as Jimmy on that, you know, like he's not going to turf out or anything, but he's still like, he is still definitely like helping modulate Jimmy's like insane, you know, terror of like, you know, being seen as transphobic, and just, you know, his kind of woke scolding of Babylon Bee for this post and whatever. It was instructive that he said when he was talking about this, he's like, the thing I hate about this is because now it makes me have to defend this tweet that I really am against and I don't like. And he's like, it's just like when, when I had to like defend Alex Jones when he was getting, kicked off Twitter and everything. And like, and I'm like, I'm not defending Alex Jones, okay? I'm just anti-censorship. I mean, this tells me that he really has not learned enough since he fucking spit on, I think he spit on Alex Jones, like during the 2016 election. And I mean, Alex Jones is a scumbag in a lot of ways, but Jimmy Dore has no place to spit on him. What has Jimmy Dore done? Like Jimmy Dore was telling people to take the vaccine. Alex Jones told people not to take the vaccine. So, like there's a million trillion issues on which Jimmy Dore has no fucking place. And almost none of Alex Jones's detractors have any place to even begin to criticize him. Like I hate it when he goes all right-wing redneck, like I like his conspiracy shit, but not his like, Christian fucking, like idiocy when he just goes off. He's like, and the atheists and the liberals and the leftists are trying to do to America. And it's like, you can just tell like he doesn't really care about humanity because he would rather just turn everything into some cliche like left versus right, Christian versus atheist, like fucking circus. So I mean, I can say fuck Alex Jones because I was saying all the things Alex Jones has said. I am a quote unquote conspiracy theorist. But at the same time, if I say fuck Alex Jones, then by the same token, fuck Jimmy Dore for like shilling for the fucking I mean, honestly, at this point, I almost give more credence to or more respect to Alex Jones. But whatever, I guess they both kind of have their lanes where they kind of, for being as like crazy and bullshitty as they are, that they still manage to, in many ways, outshine almost all the rest of like, prominent humans. But I mean, at least to his credit, at least Alex Jones started like actually criticizing Trump at some point, or, calling him out a bit, just like Steve Bannon did a bit, especially over the vaccines and Operation Warp Speed and shit. But they should have, at the first second Trump said like, oh, we're doing Operation Warp Speed, all these people should not have been like, oh, poor Trump, he's just tricked and confused all his advisors, and that he's in the swamp. He just doesn't know. He can't see. It's all the swamp waters in his eyes. He just can't see. Poor little Trumpy. Fucking cucks. Like, they'll just accept, like, anyway, so eventually, alhamdulillah, they, like, started, or, praise to the Lord or whatever, like, they eventually caught on more. But so anyway, like, I mean, I'll probably stay like subscribed to Jimmy, but I don't know, I just feel like this is a bit of a line in the sand where, I mean, I guess I should have known like this is how he is, but it just really shows, especially when he says that about Alex Jones too, like it just shows to me that he's not really learning, like, and that he really is not the great guy that he poses as. I mean, I don't think, like, he is maybe better. He's not as depraved as a lot of the fucking scumbags of this world, but he's still like a go along to get along guy, despite all his, his like supposed opposition to that. His supposed like yeah, like all his vocal denunciations of anybody that like, you know, compromises their principles to fit in or for success or something. But it's so clear that like he's just a lesser gradient of that, you know, like he's just like a lesser of lesser cuck, you know. Like he's always saying like he always calls people like nutless wonders, or at least for a long time that was his thing, and he especially kept calling the squad nutless wonders, which was kind of bad messaging because they were actually mostly women. So it's, yeah, it's like, or I don't know, I guess he was calling the YouTube people, but so despite, I mean, for one thing, like, not that I have any problem with using that phrase or something, but it's just when he uses it so obsessively. Like for a while that was like his only thing, like that was his go-to to call out people that were like cucking. So they're all nutless wonders. So yeah, it's gonna, that's like why, if he does care about seeming woke, you know, it's like he just doesn't seem that he seems less concerned about women's feelings, I would say. Like he doesn't care about the TERFs, the J.K. Rowlings of this world as much. But anyway, so I think it's going to cut me off soon. It gives me like half an hour, but I just want to say that, I mean, I wish I had it. I wish I had his platform because, but I mean, people don't even hardly watch my videos. Like even the people that have watched my videos hardly watch my videos. So maybe it's like, this is just not the timeline for straight truth. Or I had to find some other species to commune with. Not cats, though, because my cat is freaking... Cats are psychos, I'm telling you. My cat's trying to stalk me right now. Anyway, but my point is... Oh, a point that I wanted to make is that even though I still think, you know, it's good that he has 1 million subs and it's good he's there in the constellation as opposed to just not being there and there just being the other, you know, greater cucks, but he's still a lesser cuck. And the fact that he makes such a big deal of calling out other people as being like, you know, nutless wonders and, you know, kowtowing to the power and not wanting to be canceled and all this stuff. Like he makes such a big deal that he's the guy who puts it on the line. He's the one who has balls. He's the one that is brave enough to do it. And yet he's not, you know, it's just like he's a little bit braver for some reason. Or maybe that's just because he knows that that's his niche audience wants that. So if he's going to like make his money, he has to stay in this lane. But you can tell that his principles are not, you know, they're very flexible if he thinks like he's going to get canceled. So, yeah, that is bad. There's something specifically bad about somebody who is cucked and does like if you don't understand the problem with the idea that you must call people whatever they want, and you must alter your entire view of the world and biology for people's feelings. Like if anybody doesn't understand what's wrong with that, then they're basically, you know, he's basically on some level, he's a danger to the left. He's a danger to mankind. Like anybody who can't, I mean, that's such a fundamental thing. Like, so yeah, it's great he's against the censorship, but it's also terrible that he promotes a type of censorship, which is just like, oh, what will people think? I'll be called a TERF. Oh my God. And even, you know, and honestly, like, to me, I tend to agree with the TERFs that, or what, you know, my fellow gender critical people, that it's bad for, it's mean to women. It's fucked up to women to just treat womanhood as a feeling and just call these people women. Well, shut up, Oreo. Yeah, so Oreo's trying to all right, I think it like stopped recording, but if not, I'll stop here. Peace. No justice, no peace.